Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm drinking in the middle of the day. I'm great.
Sunday fun day. Jane is going to stop listening because there's too much talk of alcohol.
I know, Jane, I'm very, very sorry, Grammy too, but I need a drink today, so.
It's been a rough week. It's been a real rough
So,
week.
that's all right.
Let's take it back to something that's like very piercing.
Oh, that was a good little segue already, and we didn't even get started. We're 30 seconds in, she had a segue. So last week, we had our little 4th of July party here.
It was scaled back.
On the 3rd. We normally do fireworks.
I actually did not miss the fireworks.
So I did not either. That's
Your
interesting
pool was
that you
a lot
say that.
cleaner.
We really did not miss the fireworks because the next day afterwards, the pool is a wreck. But we had less people. We just wanted to have like a small.
So
little
Danna says
get-together.
we're just gonna have a really small group of people. She taxed like this group of 6 families,
It turned into.
and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I invited A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Well, it happens. Like you
It
feel
really was
bad.
fun and
I'm like,
fun.
oh, I can't have.
I
people
knew
over
that there was no way that it was gonna stick to that small group,
I know.
and it would have been bigger if like some friends weren't out of town on vacation.
Yeah. There were some that were not available. So
Anyways, I don't even know how it started.
I really don't know how it started, but it came up that years ago during COVID, like at the very beginning of COVID, a friend of ours had bought a piercing gun and
On
Amazon, and Olivia and Campbell had wanted their ears double pierced. So one day it was wintertime and we had taken the kids sled riding
In the middle of COVID.
Yes.
and
It was
Nothing
an
else to do.
outside activity, right?
It was. It started outside.
That's right. And then as the day went on, I think we probably let down our guard with some drinks at some point in time. And we were like, oh, we should let the girls get their ears pierced. And this turned into a great idea. And all of a sudden, there was a little piercing party in Kristin's kitchen that year.
What started? Okay, only moms and daughters go in.
Right, that was the deal.
We're social distancing.
We were social distancing. So you were only if you were getting your piercing or you were the mother of someone getting a piercing.
We're the only people
you
out
were
of their
allowed
house.
in. And that went away very quickly. But such is life. 3 years later, we now on the 3rd of July have this little get together, and somehow it came up. And Olivia says, "I really want my 3rd hole," and she has. She's
It's
been
July
wanting
3rd.
it.
Why not?
Didn't even put that there, but yes, you're right. And she was like, "I really, really want a 3rd piercing," and Campbell was like, "I really want my
Cartel's
cartilage."
been wanting her cartilage.
These
and I've been,
girls have been
no.
bugging the junk out of us for this, right? And like all the other girls, I want this. And then my little niece was here, and she doesn't even have her ears pierced. She's 5. And
She really wanted hers done.
my sister-in-law was like, if you guys don't make a big deal, maybe she'll like want hers. And so we decided we're going to start another piercing party. And so our friend went home and he got his piercing gun.
Campbell went home and got her same earrings that she used the first
Which,
round.
P.S., this is the best deal in the world. You get, for $12 on Amazon, the piercing gun and 24
Piercing
studs.
earrings.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That is a steal. And then it was funny because he was like, I went online to try to order a refill of the studs, and you can't.
Just buy the gun again.
I'm like, for $12, buy a new gun. Like, who cares, right? But so they did great. Liv got her 3rd. Campbell got her cartilage pierced. Which, how is she feeling?
She's good. It was ouchy yesterday.
It is
so
a
it's like
sore
a week
thing.
later, maybe just about a week later.
I
It was a
remember
little
getting
sore.
mine done. It is not comfortable. And so, funny story is Kristin had her cartilage pierced like years ago, and we think it has since started to close.
It did.
So we tried to re-pierce it, but
It didn't
re-pierce
work.
it ourselves. Like, we just thought we would shove an earring through it.
Well, we did that once earlier.
We did
and it worked.
Yeah, maybe like a couple months ago.
Yeah, and it's
and it
closed
did work.
all the way.
But now it's not working anymore. So she needs it
Oh, wow.
re-pierced.
I'm not re-piercing my
She's done.
cartilage. It's not pleasant when you lay on it. I'm
No,
too old
it
for
hurts.
that.
And you know what I have decided? Like, it's funny because my whole younger years, I was all about the piercings, right? Like,
You have like 24 holes in
I
your
got a lot
head.
of ear piercings. I, at one point, had my belly button pierced before I had kids. When I was pregnant, my mom used to say that she was going to talk to the babies through that hole. And then I got my nose pierced when I was like 35. So like, but I feel like I'm
I want to know what our
genuinely-
viewers and listeners think about nose piercings.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Let us
worked
know
at a
your
bank.
opinion.
I worked at a bank for years. I have a lot of banking experience, and I had worked for a bank for years, and I really, really wanted it done, and they told me I couldn't do it.
They
And
couldn't say that now.
They cannot now. This was
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, the olden days.
Yeah, it was not acceptable then.
It wasn't today.
I think that in some places it still may not be. Now, I have a very, very, if you're watching, I don't even know if you can see it. I have like the world's tiniest stud in my nose. Most people don't even realize I have my nose pierced.
Yours is very tiny.
I don't like the big, huge studs. I don't like, I'm not I tried the hoop a couple of times. It's not me.
You're gonna look like a bull. I'm gonna start like
my sister, my new sister-in-law has that. Like she does. She has whatever that is right there. I can't remember what that's called.
I don't know, but it makes me feel like I want to
she
pull it like
has
a bull.
a way of making it look okay. It is not my
It's
style.
her style.
It is her style very much.
She
She's
can do
like
it. You
super
can pull
cute.
it off.
I would not wear it though. It's not my style.
You could pull off the nose ring though.
Yeah. But Bill wants Kristin to get a nose ring.
Okay, let's discuss this. He doesn't really want me to. The only reason that he says is because he knows I would never do it.
But I do think that if push came to shove and you like agreed to it,
came home with a nose ring, he'd be like, what?
He would about die.
Then he'd make me take it out if we ever went anywhere.
Yes, like anything that was like a social function.
So he says he wants me to have my nose. He does not really want to. He's just being like, it's okay, it's acceptable. I'm getting used to it.
Tom was all about me like expressing myself, and like I had gotten my nose pierced, and I dyed underneath my hair with like this fun purple. Like this was I'd worked in a bank.
I don't even know who you are.
I know I did. I was so fun before I was friends with you. Oh yeah, I used to do bad things.
If you watch the YouTube, you know what she did.
No, I will say it. I used to smoke cigarettes years and years ago, but I have quit because, it's so gross. But this was years and years ago. But honestly, it is funny now because once you quit, my mom and I were having this conversation. My mom quit years ago as well.
Your mom smoked?
Oh, my mom smoked for years.
Oh, I never knew this.
Oh, yeah, my mom smoked for years.
Did your grandma smoke?
She smoked, but she quit. It's funny, so we'll talk about that in a minute. So when you go into the hospital, they ask you like if you smoked, and and she quit in like 1981. I want to say
long time ago.
But she was a heavy smoker. She was like 2-pack a day smoker. It was very normalized. I feel like.
I feel like back in the day, a lot of people smoked.
It was very, very normal then, and so my mom smoked. She probably quit about 15 years ago though.
Good for her.
Maybe less, maybe 10 years ago. But anyways, she always says she's like, one, if they ever tell me that it's healthy, I'm starting again. She's like, I miss it more than anything, and I totally understand that. And two is now once you quit smoking, I never understood this. She would be like, it's so gross. And I would be like, Mom, you're just being dramatic. And now when you're around it after not, you're like, oh, that's disgusting. So you do see that side of it. It's kind of yucky. But so I had like this purple hair underneath, and Tom was all about like, express yourself. Like, who cares? You've been in a bank for so long. Like, I had to dress the part and this, that, and the other.
Such a good man.
He was like, do whatever you want. Except for we can't meet any of my clients with you looking that way. He was like, do you, but don't like totally do you in front of my clients, okay? Like
that's like Bill. That's exactly what Bill.
So like they want this like fun-loving girl, but then they're like, oh, but don't do that.
I'm all for self-expression. I think it's great. I think there's just certain situations and maybe certain jobs or positions that you wouldn't hold.
I would agree. It's funny because Tom has
piercings all over.
Well, Tom has tattoos, and they stopped right about here because he's a financial advisor, and he always
a very successful financial advisor.
We always make fun of him that we're like, are you not doing it right? Because I feel like we should have more money. But so he's a financial advisor.
He's successful. That's why your money's invested.
He is fine. But when he first started and he had tattoos, he would always say that he didn't want to go further than that because he would wear like a polo shirt sometimes to
Tom's
his
got
office.
muscles too.
He does have muscles, but he would wear like a polo shirt, and he didn't want like a client would come in and he was like, I would never want them to see that. And now it's funny because the styles have since changed. Polo shirts used to be super, super long, and now they're much shorter also. And so you can see them anyways. And it's definitely a bit more acceptable now. But even so still, he's got like an older clientele that I think still would probably view that a little bit. They're just a bit more conservative, would still not view it, would not be as comfortable with that.
Can you imagine my husband with tattoos?
No, never. Never. No. But, like, we laugh because we're like, well, we can't really, like, tell our kids, like, you can't get tattoos.
Because you have tattoos and piercings.
Because we both have them. I know. We're rebels, but whatever. Such is life. So, yeah. So
anyways, so we had lots of piercings happening.
Piercing
little
party.
Elise did not get hers
done.
She did not.
She chickened out, but that's okay. Like, she didn't even, I shouldn't say she chickened out. I think it was, like, so much commotion.
Yes.
And it was so built up that, like, I think she was like, I don't know what I got into, but I'm out. Like, just scratch this whole thing. And she told my sister-in-law, you should have done this when I was a baby.
That Liliana.
She's right, by the way.
She's a force to reckon with.
I
am not in camp infant piercing. I think they need to be old enough to take care of it.
So that is how my sister-in-law felt.
Sometimes I think the babies look weird with their ears pierced.
You know,
I know yours.
Olivia did.
We did everything differently.
We were very different
ears pierced.
2 months old, they gave her a tetanus shot and said.
Did you give her a tattoo too?
No, but she got. They said she can get her ears pierced as soon as she has her first tetanus shot. And you get your first tetanus shot when you're 2 months old. And
my gosh.
Literally the next day we were at Claire's and she got her ears pierced.
You couldn't even take her to like a real place?
No, our pediatrician, Cleveland Clinic Pediatrics, even told us that it was okay to go to Claire's. I swear to you right now.
I cannot believe that you pierced your 2-month-old.
Dr. Robinson, Gina Robinson, still to this day is the best pediatrician. I love her to death. She has been my kid's pediatrician since they were born. And
You like her because she agreed with you.
That might be the case. But she's the best pediatrician out there.
My Campbell had to wait until she was like 12.
12 years old, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, that is later.
Yeah. She took care of him. She's responsible.
She is responsible. Whereas, like, I don't know, Olivia probably would have been responsible with him, I guess. But no, she was 2 months old. We did it. She didn't even know the difference. It was done. Yeah. She had so much hair. She looked like she was like 5 by the time. Right? It was fine.
Oh my gosh.
So that's that. So what else? Oh, you had a little family reunion today. You want to talk about that?
The Patterson family reunion. So every 5 years, there's a big reunion. And so I had not met some of these people 5 years ago. Bill and I knew each other, and we were talking, but barely. And I was
not like in a position to like bring. I
remember
reunion.
I think I would have gone, but I was somewhere else. I was doing something. So because I remember them, they got to tour the house that I wanted to tour, like the old, like original house. And I would really like it. I mean, I can tell I would. And everyone's like, oh, you'd really like the house. So I just need to go get a tour. They let me. So I hadn't met these people. And so a lot of them, like, were excited to, like, who's
finally meet the
Bill's
new lady.
Wife?
Yeah.
So we hosted brunch this morning, which really was pretty easy. Bill and I do omelets great, but
you guys do host a nice brunch.
I'll say, like, my omelets, he was having some problems in the beginning.
He usually does.
He's real messy.
He's not a good omelet.
But I am not complaining because he wore, what did the apron say? It had chicks on it, little chicks. He wore it for me, and it said, like, little peepers or, like, I don't know, chicks something.
Oh, my God.
Because eggs, he was a real trooper this morning. And it was super fun. Like, I had 3 types of casseroles, and we had donuts and fritters, and we made omelets out on the deck, and it was a beautiful morning.
It was. You guys lucked out on the weather.
We lucked out.
Yeah.
And everyone was so generous and kind and nice, and they toured the whole house. So, Sam, they toured your room. Your bed wasn't made, but don't worry, Grammy made it.
Sorry, buddy.
So, it was fun. So, it was a great time. Family is very important to us, and it's just nice to meet people.
That's so nice.
From all over. We have some cool relatives that
you were saying that they flew in from like
Washington,
all over the place.
California,
that's
Virginia.
Really cool.
They were all over. Cool. I didn't know Pattersons were spread out.
But they're not all of them. They're not farmers.
They're not farmers. Most of them are engineers, actually. They're probably smart. They left agriculture.
They're probably
making more money.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going back to the farm.
Oh, is that funny?
Bill and Kristin made us some eggs from their farm.
That's awesome.
Some turkey.
They probably thought it was such a great experience, though.
Maybe. I think so.
I think they probably liked
it. It was fine. But,
well, that's good.
Yeah, it was a good time. So family's super important. So go to those family reunions because we talked about, like, when we were kids, family reunions are horrible.
They are. Like, the kids don't want to be at that stuff.
And really, like, adults don't want to be at family reunions.
No, but you know what? I disagree. Like, I love going to, I love being with my family.
No, I do now. But, like, there's a portion, like, you don't want to go until you get there. And then you're like, now you're into the genealogy.
Well, and
you want to know, like, where everybody came from.
We were saying, like, a lot of times you only get to see people at, like, funerals and weddings. And we have a funeral to go to tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, well, at least I'll get to see, like, so many people that I haven't seen in so long. Like,
you better look good.
Right. Like, which kind of stinks, but, like, it's those circumstances. So that's why, like, family reunions are so nice because, like, it's another opportunity that's not just like a sad opportunity to see people.
Bob Danek, my old Sunday school teacher, he used to say, when you get to be my age, which, I mean, probably he was only like 70s at the time, he'd be like, you're going to love funerals because he's like you're ready to go, for one, and two, it's like a reunion. You get to see all your old friends and family.
He's not really wrong.
So I'm like, well, Bob Danek is also the one that told us all I don't know if anybody that listens that knows Bob Danik, but Patsy, his wife, is still alive. Bob passed away years ago, but he was our Sunday school teacher. Mm-hmm. And as a teenager, when we started dating, he's like, girls, you tell those boys that they have to get to you. They have to go through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. He's like, you girls take your Bibles and put them on the seat, and then you've got Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John to protect you. And we all were like, oh my gosh, Bob, seriously? Now, like, that was really funny. Like, pretty funny. So, anyways, Bob was a real character. But I think he was probably in his 70s when he was teaching our Sunday school class.
Do you think he was that old, though?
I think he probably
Not that 70s is that old, but like that old at that time.
He's 90s now, so probably. Yeah, no, maybe
no,
in his 60s.
Right, yeah. Isn't it funny that when you're younger, you think of older people being so much older?
Yeah.
I just found out a friend of ours' mom was my first grade teacher, and she just passed away yesterday, actually. And in my head, she was so much older. But then as I got older, I found out that her daughter was only 2 years older than me, and like became a friend of mine. And like her mom was older than my mom, but like she wasn't an old lady by any means.
No.
But I looked at her. She was my first grade teacher, so I looked at her as this like old lady, right? Like she was probably maybe less than 10 years older than my mom. But she was old to me.
It's totally true, because I feel like I'm forever trapped. My parents are in their 40s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
My grandparents are in their 60s.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what I am.
My parents are in their 40s.
That's how I always look back.
Yes, my parents are in their 40s. I'm not in my 40s. My parents are in their 40s.
Now we're in our 40s. Our parents are in our 60s.
Right.
And our grandparents are in their 90s.
It's insane.
80s, 90s.
Yeah, 80s and 90s. Yeah, it is. It's insane.
Oh,
so speaking of grandparents, so I think I told you guys last week my grandma was not doing well. And unfortunately, she passed away Friday night. She did pass away. And it was super crazy because it was very, very quick illness.
What a blessing.
It was, okay, so I have to tell you.
Your Grammy was like my grandpa.
She was,
like passed away quickly.
Very quickly. And I just have to tell like a quick little story because like it makes me laugh. But my grandma was like super, super spunky. She was not your normal. She was not your normal grandma.
She was not your normal grandma.
Like when I was little, I used to be like, she doesn't bake cookies. Like, but she'll take you to Nordstrom anytime you want. But so she had been, I think on like Wednesday, we decided to call hospice in. She had started sleeping nonstop, and we knew that it was time to just stop with the poking and prodding and just make her be comfortable. Yeah. So Wednesday, maybe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever, call in hospice, and she stayed at the hospital, which floor 3 of Simon at Hillcrest, you people are a special kind of people. That is all I can tell you. Like, you deserve the world. I did bring them Patterson donuts.
Oh, but did you pay for those or did you steal them?
Did not. I stole them.
Shocking.
Anyways, so Tuesday and Wednesday she slept like all day long, right? So Thursday morning, we're like waiting at this point. We're like, it's going to happen at any moment. Like, and at this point, we're all kind of
at this point, her obituary was written.
I'm not exaggerating. Yeah. I did write it. And I did a lot of this stuff because I didn't want my mom to have to deal with it. So I did. I wrote the obituary, and, we just could fill in some things at that point. And my aunt and I were kind of getting some preparations together because we knew it was going to be, the doctors had told us days at max at this point, and her illness was very, very quick. So anyways, I'm going to get a pedicure Thursday morning because that's my priorities at this point.
So here's what Danna tells me. Grammy's not doing good. We had a good conversation. She's like, man, she's not going to make it. Her nails look good.
She looked so good. Pedicure. Like her pedicure rocked. Like I will tell you, she's going in the ground with some good nails. That's all that matters in life.
I'm like, well, you people
we have our
think
priorities.
about other things than I do.
So I went in, I go to get a pedicure, and we're gonna end up going over on time because I have to tell the story and I don't even care. But I go to get my pedicure. My mom calls me on the way there, and she says, "You're not gonna believe this." I said, "What?" She says, Uncle Randy, my mom's brother, was just eating breakfast, and the phone rang, and it was her. And she's like, "I need you to get to the hospital." And he's like, "What?" Like clear as day. Meanwhile, she hadn't spoken for 2 days. And
she dialed the phone number.
Like went in her phone, lucid, clear as day, right? She says, "I need you to get to the hospital." So okay, Mom, I love you. He calls all of us. We're all like, and here's me. I'm like, well, I gotta get a pedicure first. So like, I'll be there in a minute. Like, so I talked to her. I talked to her on the phone while I was getting my pedicure, and then I did go straight to the hospital from there. And you guys, I'm not exaggerating. She was awake all day long. And what I found out afterwards is this is called a rally, and it is very common when people are getting ready to pass. They usually pass within hours to days following, but they come back. And so I just have to tell like the funniest story of what she did, because it's like we are so lucky that we got this opportunity, and it's like she couldn't have gotten out on a better note. But so she told us that she was at the funeral home, and she was getting ready to go into the embalming room, and she was crossing over the threshold, and she heard, "Good morning." And it was the nurse in the hospital waking her up, and she woke up for the day. And they started taking her vitals, and she said, "Oh, I must not have been ready to go. I was there, and I guess I wasn't ready to go." And she looks up at the TV, and Hoda and Savannah, which I really think I need to write to the Today Show and tell them this story. Hoda and Savannah are on the Today Show, and she is on the TV. And she is a guest because she is the woman that came back from the dead. And she is so mad and she's mad at the Cleveland Clinic because they allowed her to be on the Today Show. And she's decided that she is going to sue the Cleveland Clinic because she doesn't even look good. Her hair's a mess. Like, she cannot believe. So she decided she would call her attorney, who is my uncle. My uncle's an attorney. So that was why she called him first to come to the hospital, because she was so angry with the Today Show and with the Cleveland Clinic because they put her on TV against her will. And all day long, she repeated this story to us, you guys, like 100 times. But it was like the coolest day of my life. Like, I'm beyond grateful that I had it with her. She, like multiple times, I said, "Well, are you ready to go? Like, let's go to Nordstrom." And she was like, "I don't know if you're going to bring a zombie, because that must be what I am, because I came back." We brought my daughter, who's 14, we brought her up there, and she wanted to, like, because she had said her goodbye the day before, but she wanted to come back up, and she walked in, and my grandma throws up her hands, and she goes, "I'm back." Like, it was crazy, you guys. And then that night, she went to sleep. She slept all day Friday, and she passed away in her sleep Friday night, and we all left because we kind of got this feeling.
You knew she wanted to do it on her own.
We got this feeling she was really struggling at the end, like her breathing was very labored, and we were like, you know what, I think we should leave. And we took my mom out to dinner, actually. And while we were at dinner, the hospital called. And what's interesting is they called to see where we were and if we were okay, not to tell us that she passed, because she had not passed yet. They called because her room had been so lively for the last however many days, and it was so quiet that they were worried about us. And my mom said, "You know what, honestly, we just felt like she needed a little bit of time to herself." And while she was on the phone, the nurse came out of the room, and she had passed while my mom was on the phone. So crazy. Like, it's what she wanted. It's meant to be. It could not have been more peaceful.
And I have to add one more thing, is that she and your grandpa had been together since they were like 15, 16 in high school.
They were 15 years old when they got together.
Crazy fact. Your grandma never once in her entire life pumped her own gas.
Never once. So this is funny. She lied about her age when she was 16, or when she was 15. She lied and said she was 16, and back then, like, they didn't check anything. So she said she was 15 so that she could get a driver's license. My grandpa took her to get gas in the car. He pumped her gas, and he pumped her gas all the way up until 3 weeks ago when she got sick. And he unfortunately is also not doing well, so he's not driving right now either. But
she never in her life.
But
marry a man
that never
who will
pump
your gas.
That's right. I love it.
Until next time, friends.
Have a great one.
We're mismatched.